Hey guys, welcome back. We are jumping into another seated video today. We're going to work on rotations and articulating all of our joints today. We're going to start from our ankles and work our way up to our head. Most of this will be seated, and I'm going to throw a couple standing variations in at the end there. So grab yourself a chair today, guys. We're going to have a seat, and we're going to start with your back all the way to the back of the chair here. We want to have as much of your thighs supported that we can. So starting out, we're going to start with our right ankle here, guys. So have a seat back, let your back relax down. You're going to take a deep breath in and exhale, straighten that leg out. So we're going to hold this leg here. So our quads are going to get a little bit of a burn on it. If at any time you need to lower your leg down, totally feel free to take a rest. But from here, guys, we are going to focus on our ankle first. So sitting nice and tall, you're going to point your toes as far away from you as you can, and then you're going to reach through your heel, pull your toes as close to your head as you can. Good. Point the toes, flex the ankle. Point the toes, flex the ankle. Good. A couple more here. Good. And now we're going to jump into our rotation. So I'm going to get you to point your toe, and then you're going to try to point your toe down and turn your foot in as far as you can. So you totally might get some cramping on some of these movements today. If that's the case, just come out of that range of motion a little bit. Don't go quite as far, and take a rest when you need to, stretch out when you need to. But we're trying to rotate our ankle, and we're going to draw as big of a circle with our big toe that we possibly can. So we're going to start out in one direction. Nice and slow. We don't want to really fast. We want to go slow so we can really push that limit, that range of motion. Good. And I'm going to get you to try the other side. So you're going to point the toes down, and you're going to turn the toes out to the side as much as you can. Pull the toes up to the head, and then you're going to come in. What you want to watch for here, guys, is your hip might start to rotate and turn with you. So try to keep the kneecap facing in the same direction the whole time. Good. We're going to go for 4, 3, 2, one more. Good. And lower that leg down. Give your legs a little shake, give the quads a little bit of a rest there. And we're jumping in right onto the left side now. So extending your left leg long. We're going to activate all those muscles in the top of the leg. And from here, we're going to point the toes and flex the toes. Point the toes and flex the toes. Good. So we want to sit nice and tall. We're trying to really lengthen the foot as much as we can here. So imagine there's strings pulling from your toe tips, making the foot as long as they possibly can. More here. Good. Next one, point the toes. We're turning inwards, so you're going to draw as big of a circle as you can with your big toe. Turning the toes in, pulling the toes up towards your head, pointing the toes out to the side, and straight back down. Keep going in that direction. Again, nice and slow and controlled. You really want to push that range of motion that you're moving through. And you definitely might find that you have much more coordination on one side than the other. This foot feels kind of like I have no control over it right now. I'm managing to get my message down to those muscles to get it to do what I want, but my control in my right leg is definitely much more than in my left. Good. Switch directions. So point the toes, and now we're drawing outwards. Again, this is one where you may be tempted to want to rotate at the hip and get the kneecap to turn out. Try to keep the kneecap nice and straight. So we're going out, reach through the toes, toes come up to the sky, and over to the other side. Again, we're in a great big circle with your toes down there. Go for 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. And lower that leg down and shake out the feet. I guess I should have warned you that we're going to do a little leg workout as well today. So back over to the right hand side, we're going to move on to the hip. So I'm going to show us a hip seated variation today, and at the end we're going to do a little hip something standing. So extending your right leg long again. This time I'm going to get you to pull your toes up towards your head, and you're reaching as long as you can through your heel. From here now, we're looking at getting that rotation happening in the hip joint. So we're going to try to keep the big toe in line with your kneecap the whole time, and we're rotating that leg out. So I'm squeezing all the muscles on the outside of my hip here, And then you're gonna, like a window washer with your foot, you're gonna turn the toes in as much as you can. So let me turn on the angle towards the camera for you. We're coming out, that rotation's happening at my hip. Try to keep my upper body, my torso as still as I can. And in. Coming out. So we are being very active. This is actually a lot of work on our joints. I know I made it sound kind of nice and jolly and easy with my, oh, we're gonna do some rotations, but we're putting in work here. You should get a good burn happening on your legs. We'll go 4 more. Go for 4, 3, 2, last one. Coming in and lower that leg down. Walk out your feet. Good. Onto our left side. So sitting up as tall as we can. Belly, tummy muscles a little bit engaged here. Left leg extending long. Reach through your heel. Pull your toes towards your head. Squeezing those muscles in the top of the foot. Again, we're trying to get that movement happening at the hip joint here, not at the knee or the ankle. So the big toe stays in line with your kneecap here the whole time. So sitting tall, we're gonna go out to the side. We're getting a good burn on like the inner top of your thigh there, squeezing those outer muscles. And coming, turning the toes in. You might feel a little bit more of a pull happening on the outside of the leg there. But I can also, my left side is much tighter than my right side. So on that way in, I have a lot more restriction that I can feel in my hip compared to my right side. Which means I should do this more on this side. You shouldn't ignore it just because it's uncomfortable. Again, big toe in line with the kneecap. Trying to keep the torso nice and still. Good, go for 4. And in. 3. And in. It's like you're pivoting on that heel. It's like you have a rod going through your leg and you're just rotating around it. We'll go 1 more. Good. And lower that leg down. Walk out the feet. Awesome. My leg's on fire. I don't know about you guys. But next one, guys, we're coming forward on our chair. Feet are going to be planted flat on the ground. And we are going to cross one arm over the other, touching our opposite shoulder. So from here, we're going to try to grow tall from the top of the head. Feet are planted flat on the ground. And now we're going to be rotating at our spine here. So with this one, we're going to try to keep our legs as still as possible. We're trying to get that rotation happening around our spine. So hands are crossed, growing tall, tuck your chin in. You're going to take a deep breath in. Your head's going to stay in the middle of your torso. So we're not rotating and twisting that way. We're staying very central. Head's going to stay in the middle of our shoulders the whole time. And then over to the other side. Back to center. So inhale as you go to the side and grow really tall. Imagine that when you twist to the side, you have to grow up. And then exhale, squeeze your tummy muscles and try to maintain that same height the whole time. So inhale to the other side. Exhale to center. Good, keep going side to side there. Watch your legs now. You may be tempted to push them in the other direction to help you go further. But we want all of that work happening from our tummy muscles, our erector muscles, up our spine. We'll keep going for a few more here. One more on each side. Remember, we rotate, grow tall. Exhale, try to keep the height, engage the tummy muscles. Inhale, grow tall. Try to keep that height, come back to center. Good. Relax the arms, shake them out. Plant your feet wide. So we have some tight muscles in our low back there. You might get a little bit of pulling. So here's a little stretch that you can do to help relieve any tension. If you can't touch the ground, you can grab a pillow or have another chair in front of you or something. But we're going to tuck the chin and we're going to start to roll one vertebrae at a time, reaching down towards the ground. From here, if we can get the hands on the ground, great. If we can't, grab something to bring the ground to you. And from here, you're going to tuck the tailbone round your back, hang your head. Inhale, try to arch your back a little bit, try to look up towards the sky. coming up. So we might get a good stretch on the inner thighs here as well, the back of the hips. And we'll go one more. Good, so to come up here, guys, you're going to squeeze your butt cheeks, take a deep breath in, squeeze your tummy muscles, and press into your feet, and pull yourself back up to a nice tall seated position. Great, from here, we're gonna stay scooched forward on the edge of our chair. This time we're gonna bring your feet together and your legs together. And again, we're pretending we have that string pulling from the top of our head and we're sitting nice and tall with our shoulders back and down. So from here, I call this one the bow and arrows. So now we're gonna continue to rotate our spine, but we're kind of working the more of our thoracic spine here, our upper back a little bit. And we're gonna add a head turn on for some rotation into our neck as well. So sitting nice and tall, shoulders relaxed down. You're gonna take a deep breath in. Imagine that you're pulling a bow back, like you're getting ready to shoot something, and you're gonna look behind you at the same time. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, and then exhale, come back to center. Inhale, grow tall at the top of the head, drop your shoulders down. Look behind you, exhale, come back to center. Again, with this one, we wanna watch our legs, so we wanna avoid them shifting side to side. We wanna try to keep them as still as possible. You can bring some attention to your hips here as well, guys. We want to try to stay evenly weighted in both of our hip bones. So we might be tempted to want to lean over to the side that we're working on, or shift backwards and go onto the opposite hip there. So focus even weight in both your butt bones. Good, keep going here. Inhale, grow tall. Exhale, back to center. Inhale, tall, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Exhale to center. We're gonna go for 4 more. Try to keep the shoulders down. 3, 2. Last one. If you're getting any pain or discomfort with any of these motions, guys, start by making your movement smaller and slower. And if that pain doesn't stop and it's uncomfortable, just skip that exercise, okay? And go talk to your doctor, go see a physiotherapist to kind of check to see what the root of that problem is. Next, guys, we're gonna scooch our bums back, sitting nice and tall. Feet are planted flat on the ground, and we're moving on just to our head now. So we're gonna try to keep our shoulders, our hips, our knees, all facing in the same direction here. Imagine that rope is pulling from the top of your head. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, just gently engage the tummy muscles. You're gonna try to keep that engagement of the tummy muscles. So inhale, you're gonna look over your left shoulder. And exhale, come back to center. So everything else in my body is staying nice and still except for my head. So grow tall at the top of the head and try to maintain that height as you come back to center. So imagine you have a rod going through the middle of your body and you can't flex or side bend at all. You can only rotate one way or the other. But imagine pulling those shoulders back and squeezing the shoulder blades together just gently. So you can also be working the muscles of your eyeballs with this one as well, guys. As you turn your head, try to look to that side as far as you can as well. You can be all shifty-eyed. So grow tall, look behind you with your eyes and your head. Let's go for 4, 3, 2. Again, keep those shoulders nice and still. Good, and back to center. Give the shoulders a bit of a roll. Take a few breaths here. Good, we are onto our arms now, guys. So again, our butt is gonna stay scooched back nice and far, and we're gonna lean forward. If we can, if we're comfortable with it, we'll have our hands on our thighs. If that's not comfortable or you're not able to do that, place something on your lap to bring your lap to you, so you can have your arms and your forearms rested on it here, okay? So I'm gonna show you a demo with my forearms on my thighs, but here we're gonna start with our wrists. So you're gonna have your forearm resting on your thigh, but you wanna have enough room to be able to point the fingers all the way down without your knee getting in the way. So from here, you're gonna actually grab your wrist just above the joint. Again, I can still go into a full range of motion here. And you're gonna hold that joint. So what we're gonna do here, you're gonna keep the palm facing down the whole time. So you're gonna be tempted to wanna rotate the palm around, but you're gonna point the fingers down as much as you can, out to the side, coming up. You're trying to draw as big of a circle as you can with your fingertips, and then out to the other side and down. Again, reach as long as you can through your fingertips. Nice and slow and controlled. If you have pain in your elbows or your wrists, lots of times those can stem from tight extensor or flexor muscles of our wrist that come up and insert on either side of our elbow. So this can be a really good exercise to help you loosen up those muscles, mobilize the joint, build strength in bigger ranges of motion. And try the other direction now. Again, you might get a little bit of cramping or discomfort in the hand. But we're trying not to let our palm come up here. Go for 4, 3, 2, the last one. Good. Oh, shake out your hand. Good. Flex and extend those fingers. Give them a little bit of a roll and just shake it out on the side. And we're on to our left hand now. So forearm rests on our thigh or on our pillow or whatever we brought on our lap. From here again, I'm going to hold my wrist to make sure that I don't rotate my palm up, and we're going to keep the palm down the whole time. So flex the wrist as much as you can. Keep your fingers nice and straight. Reach down towards the ground, and you're going to turn the fingertips in. Good. And going up, bringing the back of the hand towards the head, and out to the side with the pinky as far as you can without letting the palm roll forward, and then straight back down towards the ground. Coming up, and over, and down. So for me, this takes a lot of concentration, again, on my left side especially. Very right dominant. You might have a few tendons or ligaments popping in the wrists there. Again, just make the circle a little bit smaller if there is some pain and discomfort, and go slower to start. And if it's just irritating it altogether, then skip this exercise, okay? And we're gonna switch directions. Again, out to the side, palm up to the sky, and down and around. And you might get a few pops and cracks in there, and if there is no pain with the pops and cracks, that's okay, that's just normal. If there's pain with popping and clicking, then that's when we need to be a little bit more concerned. Let's go for 4. 3, 2, and 1 more. Good, and release the hand, shake it out, open and close the hand a little bit. Give the arms a little bit of a twist. Good. From here, we are gonna add some rotation into our shoulders, starting with our hands down to our side. So I'm gonna get you to grip, almost like you're gonna grab onto a doorknob, and you're gonna have your hands open like that the whole time. So from here, your back can be pushed to the back of the chair, your feet flat on the ground, you're sitting nice and tall, arms are gonna come down to your side. Pretend you're grabbing onto the doorknob, and you're gonna internally rotate. So you're gonna try to turn the thumbs in towards your body, and the back of the inside of the palm of your hand is gonna go out, away from your body. So we're gonna be internally rotating at the shoulder, and then you're gonna externally rotate. So you're gonna turn the thumb away from the body, and you're gonna open the palms with the thumbs behind you. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. So we're gently going in, trying to rotate from the shoulder, and out. So what we wanna watch for here, guys, is that we're not rounding our back to get our shoulders internally rotating even more, and that we're not arching the back to get them externally rotated here. We wanna lock the back to the back of the chair, and we're gonna stay there. So again, the only thing that's moving is my shoulders and my hands. down my arms. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Good, keep going there. We're gonna add a little bit of movement onto it now. So, arms out to the side, still we're internally and externally rotating our shoulders, and you're gonna come up a couple inches, and you're gonna internally and externally rotate your shoulders, and then you're gonna come up just a little bit. In and out, and imagine you have strings pulling from every fingertip. You're reaching as long as you can. Get up a little bit. So every internal and external rotation, we're gonna inch up a little bit higher. So be mindful of your shoulders here. You wanna make sure that the shoulders aren't coming up with us. Shoulders stay down, arms rise up. Good. As you come up higher, you might start feeling pinching or pulling and tingling into the fingertips. And again, that's okay. That can just be tight muscles, maybe pinching on some nerves, causing tingling down in our fingers. And again, do as much as you can tolerate. If it's painful, ease off a little bit. We're coming up a little higher. I forgot that we were lifting our arms. And if coming up overhead with your shoulders is not okay, just start going back downwards now. I'm gonna go all the way up to the top. Okay, some of us are there. Coming up again, shoulders up, bring them down. Good. Rotating at the shoulders, remember. We don't want just the hands moving. We're trying to get the whole upper arm rotating with us. Good, and now we're gonna speed it up a little bit. So you're gonna internally, externally rotate, keeping the arms as wide as you can, coming up and down. So we're gonna go up one more time. We're going a little bit faster now. Squeeze the shoulder blades together when those palms turn up. Good, again, the body's staying nice and still. Breathe, relax the shoulders away from your ears. We're coming down for one more time. And now you'll be the master of turning doorknobs. All right, guys, the last two here, nice and quick. We're gonna come up to standing position. But if standing's not comfortable for you guys, wonderful job thus far. I've just got two more to do. Feet together, knees bent, and you're gonna place your hands on your knees. So now we're gonna just mobilize our knees a little bit. So you're gonna drive the knees forward as much as you can, and then over to the left-hand side, and then back so they're nice and straight. Over to the right, and forward. So we're gonna stay in one direction for now. So here we're mobilizing our ankles and our knees and our hips a little bit. Again, if you have any pain in the knees, just make the motion a little smaller. Don't squat down quite as far. Don't just give up. If something hurts or it's not going well the first time, try to find a solution. Try a couple different positions. Try going slower, going faster. We gotta be curious. No one else can do it for us, unfortunately. And I switch directions if I didn't say that out loud. Good, swooping the knees around, coming up straight, over to the other side. Go for 4, 3, 2. Last one, we're coming up to standing. We're gonna bring your feet a little bit wider. We're calling this one the hula hoop. So feet wide, you're gonna tip your hips over to the left-hand side. My head's gonna go to the right. I'm gonna drive my hips forward. I'm squeezing my tummy muscles and I'm squeezing my butt cheeks. I'm not just gonna arch my back and drive it forward and compress and cram up all my vertebrae in my back. No, I wanna strategically drive the hips forward and grow tall as my hips come up to try to keep as much space between my vertebrae that I can. Hips push to the right, and then behind you, we're gonna tip our head forward. So whatever way our hips go, our head's going the opposite direction. You wanna keep that core engaged the whole time. Your glutes are engaged. Your shoulders are relaxed. Good, and we're gonna switch directions now. So push the hips over to the left, forward, and behind you. Good, core is engaged, glutes are squeezed. If we start bending or twisting and we don't have that support with us, that's when we injure our back. That's when we get those tweaks that can put us on our beds for a couple weeks and make us nervous of movements. So always think of core engagement. Go for 3, 2 more. Last one. Good. And walk it out. Shake it out, guys. Good, awesome job. So there was our rotations day for you. I hope that maybe we woke a few areas up, or maybe you found a few areas that are a little bit tighter and you need to focus on. Feel free to come back to this video at any time. It's always good to mobilize your body out of our regular positions, especially if we're seated at a desk or if we're standing all day long and bending. It's good to get ourselves into new positions so that we don't develop the inability to contract certain muscles or the inability to move through certain ranges of motion. The good news is if we have done that with some practice and some consistency, you can gain lots of your range of motion back and pain-free range of motion back as well. So keep up the great work, guys, and I'll see you next time.